kind of stuff you will not find on the internet. That's why you buy books, to get the stuff that isn't on the internet. I don't want the stuff on the internet. I want Jack Parsons' actual handwriting. That's what I want. Okay? I want Manly Hall and Jack Parsons' personal notes. That's what I want. I'm doing a Watcher of Crazy type stream. Watcher of Crazy likes to drive around the Texas countryside, and she likes to take videos of deer and rabbits and other animals that may or may not carry rabies. So, if she can do that, if Watcher of Crazy can profile a group of rabid wild animals on her live stream, then I certainly can film myself going to get lunch. Okay? Got the windows down because it is a cool 81 degrees today. The high is 81 degrees, which is winter time. That's winter weather in New Orleans. When it gets down to 81 degrees, you know winter's here in New Orleans. So, I would like to eat pizza. I want to go to Tower of Pizza on Veterans. But they only open 4 hours a day. Tower of Pizza is a famous restaurant that used to be in New Orleans East on Downman Road. And it stayed on Downman Road all the way to, I want to say, and Downman Road is a complete dump. I mean, it's all black people. It's a fucking dump. It's a real dump. New Orleans East is a dump. New Orleans East, I want to write a book about New Orleans East because in New Orleans East, back in the late 60s, mid 70s, was a paradise. It was a suburban paradise in New Orleans East. And what happened was integration happened, forced integration. They started busing white kids to schools in Gentilly that were really bad, and they started busing black kids to the really good schools in New Orleans East. And what happened is most of the white people left. However, and this is important because nobody talks about this in society, what happened is the white people who got left behind in New Orleans East in the late 80s, early 90s, ones who couldn't really move out, and I knew a lot of these people. There wasn't a lot of them, by the way. It was just a handful of white people left in New Orleans East in the early 90s. But what happened in the late 80s, early 90s, but what happened was all of those kids, those smart, really bright white people that I knew, all had really fucked up lives because they had to go to school with black kids, and it was bad. It just wasn't a learning type environment. Going into like the 7th grade in a black school was like repeating the 3rd grade in a white school. I'm not exaggerating. And they had kids in my middle school who were 16 years old. They just got out of LTI, which is the juvenile penitentiary, black kids. And they were like in the 6th, 7th grade still. And it was bad. It was a really bad school. And all those white kids who got left behind, and that may be the name of my book, Left Behind. The white kids who were left behind in New Orleans East really had screwed up lives. And I want to write a book about that and about some of these kids, the Chad Sullivans, Ernie Morris, these kids who had fucked up lives because they were forced into multiculturalism, and there were real consequences to multiculturalism, and nobody's talking about it. So I want to write a book about that, and I'm sure there's other cities like East St. Louis. There's other cities where the white kids who did not leave for white flight and got left behind had to become beast to survive and had to do all this really bad stuff. And some of these people, like the Chad Sullivans, kill people. Chad Sullivan was the first white person in Louisiana to be charged with a hate crime. The Chad Sullivan story is really interesting. I might do like a video about him, but I want to write a book about him. I want to go up there to where he's living there, Livingston Parish, and sit down with him and do this talk. But so yeah, New Orleans East and the kids who were left behind, the white kids who were left behind, and there's nothing racial about this. This is real lives that were affected by forced multiculturalism. Real lives. So, after reading books my whole life, I, at the age of 50, decided I may write a book. And I bet you this book will roll right out, because I'm a natural writer, and I actually have books, handwritten books, in my notes, just unpublished material, but this one's going to roll. And I don't know if anyone would be interested in it, but if you're my age and you experience the consequences of forced multiculturalism, you will be able to relate to this book that John Wolfe, is going to write. And it's probably going to get, I'm probably going to get it as a racist for pointing out the dangers of multiculturalism. I guess if that's the worldly word, that, see, I want to eat pizza today. I might go buy roast beef and make a move on. Some good zip bread. But anyway, it was a real thing that happened. And now we're like 2-3 generations into forced multiculturalism. Now you got white kids on the North Shore, which used to be white kids on the North Shore used to listen to country music and all that. Now they have like the blood gang, like the white kids on the North Shore think they're black now. And so this is the second, third generation of multiculturalism, forced multiculturalism. And it's all fucked up. I mean, what about white people's identity? And you know, I get in arguments with black people about this around here all the time. I say, you know, when they start bitching about racism, I say, hey, you know, if you want to fit in, you got to assimilate, which means you have to stop being black. Just like Mexicans in Texas stopped being Mexican, they became Texans. And the Mexicans that live in Texas and watch of crazy can verify this. Especially the second and third generation Mexican Americans, they're white. They walk around with cowboy shirts on, tucked in, cowboy boots, Stetson hats. They hold their girlfriends and wives' hands. They have their kids with them all the time. They're white conservatives. They stopped being Mexican and they assimilated to American culture. And now they're thriving. But black people never did it. Italians did it. They stopped speaking Italian. They started being American. They don't even have any authentic Italian restaurants in the New Orleans area. It's all like chicken nugget, and it's like a Rocky and Carlos. It's like an Italian name, but there's no Italian food there. It's like frozen chicken nuggets and hamburger joint. Never mind. But I tell black people, you got to stop being black. And telling a black person that they have to stop being black in order to live, to experience the American dream, they don't like that. I mean, they think that's racist. And when you say it's not about skin culture, it's about culture, they really lose their shit. But they don't get it. If you want to succeed in America, you have to start assimilating with American mainstream culture. Just like if you're a white kid with long hair and you listen to punk rock music, you're not going to fit in. If you're a juggalo with tattoos on your face, you're not going to fit in. You got to stop being a juggalo. You got to stop being a punk rocker if you want to fit into mainstream America. And you have to stop being black if you want to fit in with mainstream America. But you can't make this argument without being called a racist. There's nothing racist about it. When in Rome, you act like a Roman. I mean, that's just what it is. And to change mainstream American culture is to change the American dream and everything else. So it's never ever going to work. You can't be something else and expect to experience the pearls of being what it is. So anyway, it's a great idea. I want to write this book. I know there's other white people who were born in the 70s and late 60s who were bused to bad places, who got left behind. Oh, the guy, the Special Forces guy, the Sheriff of Baghdad, his name's McPhee, something McPhee. They call him the Shrek, the Sheriff of Baghdad. He's like some veteran. He can relate to this book because he was speaking about this growing up in South Chicago, how the Chicago school system, Cook County had to hire a taxi cab to bring him back and forth to school because he was the only white kid left in South Chicago. He can definitely relate to this book. So he had to join the army and go all the way across the sea to kill other people just to escape that reality. Okay, so he can relate to this book that John Wolfe will be writing this year. I don't know if John Wolfe will have a publisher or if he is going to self-publish. You know, John Wolfe has a friend who wrote some books, who has a literary agent, who said that I can hire him for $500. For $500, I can hire a literary agent to publish my book. John Wolfe is going to publish a book. John Wolfe's going to publish 4 books for $2,000. John Wolfe has the resources for this. John Wolfe has the material. And John Wolfe has the time, more important. There's nothing more important than free time. So I will be utilizing this free time to write this book. And, oh, there's my pizza place. So I will be sitting down eating some good pizza in a really great parish called Jefferson Parish. This is where the white people escaped to, besides the North Shore. They came here and they are living the American dream because they came to an American place. This is nice. New Orleans East used to look like this. It no longer looks like this. And that's why Tower of Pizza is no longer in New Orleans East. And Tower of Pizza was just one inspiration and why I want to write this book. Why isn't Tower of Pizza where it was 30, 40 years ago? And that is because Downland Road in New Orleans East, it's probably safer in Baghdad right now. It's probably safer in Baghdad, Iraq, than it is on Downland Road in New Orleans East. So keep your ears and eyes open. John Wolfe will be writing a book like this month. He's going to be writing and saving all the material, and he will be giving it to a literary agent. And the book is going to be about forced multiculturalism and the experiences that white kids had growing up and residing in this world of forced multiculturalism. It's going to be a great book. It's going to initiate some important conversations about multiculturalism. And this book might be big in Europe because right now, Europe is experiencing the same thing New Orleans East experienced 45 years ago. Started to experience 45 years ago. So New Orleans East went from the greatest place in New Orleans area to complete shit in less than 15 years. And I watched it. I watched that happen. I had a front row seat for that. And I seen what it did. No one's normal. None of the white kids who got left behind, that's the name title of the book, Left Behind. None of those white kids who got left behind in New Orleans East grew up to be normal. None of them. They all had, some of them are surviving. Some of them actually bought houses. All of them have criminal records. All of them have, hey, this is another thing I noticed. They will only only busing kids who were from single-family homes. Kids who lived with their grandparents, who were raised by grandparents, were getting bused to black schools. They wasn't busing kids who come from two-family homes. They wasn't busing kids who come from politically connected families. They wasn't busing kids what was the third factor? It was all the adopted kids, single-parent homes, grandkids are raising them. There's another group there. Oh, veterans. And if your parents wasn't active, the Vietnam veterans' sons, like the Patrick Cormier will be another character, a real person who actually lived. A friend of mine, a friend of John Wolfe, a personal friend, childhood friend of John Wolfe. He killed himself January of 2000. Can't remember the date. His mother died 3 days later of a heart attack. Another sad story. He went to prison 17 years old for armed robbery. Went to a really good private school first 8 years of his life. Then his father was a Vietnam veteran. His parents had a divorce. His father had drinking problems. His father was interesting. His father left Vietnam as a sergeant. He was 20 years old and he was a sergeant. So he had to be a real killer over there. To go from a private who got drafted to a sergeant in less than a year in the Army, in the Marines. He was in the Marine Corps. So Patrick's father actually worked at a really good restaurant in Biloxi. Patrick's father was a waiter at Mary Mahoney's restaurant. It's a really famous restaurant in Biloxi. It's like all the who's who of Biloxi eats there. But anyway, Patrick, public school, he gets bust because his parents are going through a divorce. His father was a Vietnam veteran. At that time, they were shitting on veterans. Today, veterans get everything. I mean, because the deep state realizes how important it is to get these young, dumb white Americans to join the military and to fight their battles for them. So they got to kind of reward veterans nowadays. But back then, they shitted on them. And they shitted on their kids. But these children who were left behind, again, the title of the book, these kids who were left behind, I got the windows down, this is a really nice day.